Well, hello there and hello to you two. Vlogging with Gibster, back for new episodes of Pokemon, the alternate take. Sit down, get comfy, and let's see what we'll make. In the last episode, we redesigned a little fire lizard, or amphibian, called Charmeleon. And now, in today's episode, we will be redesigning its final evolution, Charizard, coming from the words char, which means to burn, and lizard, which, yes, I know it may be a controversy of whether he's a reptile or an amphibian. He's neither, he's a Pokemon. Yeah, I don't know why I clapped there. Anyway, so this was Charmeleon, which we did the last time. And now we're going to be using that to do Charizard. So, as I said, each member of the forms, including the Megas and Gigantamax forms, each is going to be its own dragon, with Charmander here being a drake, a dragon that can't fly, but it has legs. Charmeleon is a normal dragon. It has legs and wings. Charizard is going to be a wyvern, where it has legs, no arms, and wings. These dragons are usually depicted as either having spikes along its wings or having its wings in the placement of its arms, because wings usually go on its back, but in some wyverns' cases, they're located on its shoulders, which is what I'm going to do here and have it located on its shoulders. So that's the first step that I've just done. Sorry, that doesn't really make him look angry enough, because these are his eyebrows. Now, that's the main base of the head, so the next step will be to do the neck. There's something I don't like with the Charizard is that I don't want to use that word, but I guess I'd say I don't want him to look, fat, considering the fact that he's considering the fact that the rest of his evolution line are very slender, and then he just goes to having an overweight body, so I'm gonna make it so that he's more skinnier on that end. Because it doesn't really fit sort of his design that much. Because there are some that would, be fat, like Snorlax or Purugly. Because that's their concept. Snorlax is lazy and Purugly is one of those older women who like to dress as younger women. Because that's what it's based on, because they have because Purugly has that thing that makes its fat body look skinny, and then just look at his face. It looks like a bad makeup day. Whereas Charizard, he's supposed to be a dragon. Even though he's not dragon type. Because I feel like Charizard would have been dragon type if it wasn't for the fact that, like, dragon type was a very OP type back in the day. I'd say it still is because, like, I know there was ice type then, but that was, like, dragon and ice. Like, dragon type was usually saved for the pseudo-legendaries, which are very rare. And then, of course, ice types. Well, they're at the end of the game. Ice types are always at the end of the game. And it's kind of like, well then, how do you beat a dragon type then? If, like, all the main types are either weak to it, or... Well, yeah, that's just it. They're just... If they're either weak to it, or don't really do much against it. So... And then they introduced the fairy type, and it was like, oh, well, there's something to finally beat the dragon type. So, since it was a very overpowered type, they didn't want a starter to be dragon type. So that's what they did. They just made it so that he was fire flying. And then in X and Y, when, of course, in X and Y, when Mega Evolution was introduced, they thought, you know what? We'll make Charizard dragon type. We'll one of them. So Mega Charizard X was fire and dragon because of that. And, you know, people are like, well, he should have been dragon type from the start, but it's kind of like, yeah, but then he would have been the clear choice when they wanted an equal choice of, like, they wanted all of the starters to be equally, but then they made it so that Charmander and Squirtle were weak to the first two gyms, and then Bulbasaur beat them all. And yeah, like, what percentage of people actually chose Bulbasaur as their starter and had to suffer, be like, those who actually didn't catch a grass type in Route 1, and be like, how do you do this? This is impossible. And then they look it up and they're like, oh, you need a grass type. Right, I need to go back then. Right, I'm gonna change this to a broken line. I'd say this Charizard redesign is getting on quite well. So with this, I was actually keeping the original pose for Charizard. Sort of like what I did with Charmander, because I couldn't think of a better one. Plus, I feel like it's kind of perfect. The only thing I did really change that's more pose-wise rather than design-wise is that I had the head looking, you know, down instead of up, because I get it. Like, they did that pose so it looked like Charizard was all confident and, you know, had his head up high, but it's kind of like, I feel like it's kind of awkward, whereas now he's staring into your soul, and it's kind of like, yeah, now that's something you want to fear, because that's what it is. Charizard isn't something to be taken lightly, even if he was denied the chance of being given one of the most overpowered types in the game. He's based on a mythical creature that was said to destroy everything. Like, and I know people say dragons aren't real, but pterodactyls aren't considered dinosaurs and they're flying reptiles. So, like, yeah, dragons are real. Well, they were real. They're extinct because Pterodactyls aren't dinosaurs, and even if they were dinosaurs, they'd be the closest things to dragons. Even if they didn't have any elemental power, it's not really possible for anything to have elemental power. Except, well, nature. And, well, I guess heaters and that, but they channel heat, not generate heat, if you know what I mean. I guess electrical devices would count. And since it was a wyvern, I wanted to go with the sort of pose that, Noivern has with his wings. So I wanted to do that sort of pose. But I need to think, because the wings are turned, so they would most likely go up, right? So it would be like that, I think. And then I need to do the stem of the other half. I'll move the Charmeleon there. I think this is going on quite well, guys. So, of course, he can use the wings to fly, of course. They're just stationary at the moment. I think I'm just going to use the same flame that Charizard has in the official art because, well, there's nothing really wrong with it. What I wanted with the spots all along them is, like, to have the colours of the flame. So in Charmander and Charmeleon, they're yellow, orange, and red. But with these ones, I want it to show that Charizard is, like, at full power, but, not, like, a complete and perfect flame. Because that's what Mega Charizard X is. So on Mega Charizard X, the spots will be blue, because blue fire is actually a complete and perfect flame. Or so, like, places like Google say. So instead, when I, do the colors for this, all the spots along his back are going to be red. So the last part of this is we're going to have to add the salamander spots back in their place. Now, let's see. So on his shoulders and here as well. Okay, is that everywhere? I will add one more spot here. There we go. Now, I'd say this is quite the good Charizard redesign. Would you guys think so? Now, of course, if you guys have any problems with this, well, I'm not stopping you from redesigning Charizard yourself. This was just an activity. Now, I have been vlogging with Gibster, and I will see you guys next time. And remember, your favourite ninja loves you.